Hey, sports dads, are you ready for the best combination of fatherhood and football talk? Well, let's go.
It's that time to have a conversation about fatherhood and football and relation. Ready, set, hut, grab your kids and huddle up. We might get deep, but just run it up the gut. So put your jersey on and clap for the home team. It's a dance thing, yeah, you know what I mean. So tell a friend to tune in if you heard me. To the best show in town every Thursday. Fatherhood and football, it's a dad's thing. Fatherhood and football, it's a dad's thing. Fatherhood and football, it's a dad's thing. Fatherhood and football.
All right. Well, welcome to a Dad's Thing podcast, Fatherhood and Football. I am James Simmons, in-studio host dad of two amazing daughters, former middle school, high school, and I own a football coach, as well as a former wide receiver at Division I AA Fordham University in the Bronx. Today we are joined by Calvin Hargrove. Calvin is the father of son Calvin III. Calvin and I played college ball together and has been a big brother to me ever since. Welcome to the show, big bro.
How you doing, James? It's a pleasure to finally see this come to light. This is refreshing. This is your wheelhouse right here, so I'm very excited.
Thank you.
Be a part of this.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And you the first guest on the show, and I couldn't have it.
First one? Oh, wow! That's big. That's big now.
Yeah, you the first. You the
That's
first.
Big.
You are the first, and I couldn't have it any other way. You are very instrumental in my life, not just today, but as a little freshman coming on the campus of Fordham University back in 1994. If it wasn't for you, I don't know where I'd be, but we'll share a little bit more of that, and I'm gonna give you an opportunity to talk about that. But please let the guests know a little bit more about how we met, some of the first interactions we had back in the day.
Well, first of all, you came on a recruiting visit, right? You did all that stuff, okay?
Yes.
So I met James on a recruiting visit. I'm not sure who was your host. Do you know who your host was?
I do not remember. It was that long ago. I do not remember.
So I'm sure at some point I ran into you that weekend because, people of like color, they try to get intertwined because you feel like you get a better or a more honest opinion of how the campus is and the student life and the football program.
Yeah.
So at some point, I'm sure I ran into you and we had a chit chat and you play receiver too. Okay, well, if you come here, this is how it's going to be. And, I welcomed you open arms because, that's how I felt when I was being recruited there. It wasn't like no animosity or like, this freshman here ain't going to play. I was more of a supportive kind of host when guys came in.
Definitely.
Because I wanted the demographic of the team to change a little bit while we were there. It was very tilted when I was a freshman to when I was a senior. It was a little better. It wasn't where we wanted it, but it was a little better. So we kind of get as many young men to come on campus, to stay there and graduate. That was the whole point. So when I met you during your recruiting trip, but when camp started, that's when I really got to know you because it was like, the bullets started flying at that point. So it's a different animal altogether, and it became I found myself being a life coach of some sort. And like, look,
Listen, you say the bullets started flying in camp. Bombs were dropping the first week I got there before we got together. You know what I mean? Because I got there a couple of days before you, so I had to, be one of the freshmen to get a couple of days before.
Right.
And it was a blessing when you did show up.
Yeah, so you met our position coach, the famous Joseph Tricario, and he introduced you to college football like nobody, I think, could ever do it. He just expected everything from you immediately. There was no learning curve with him, which to a certain degree, I get it. I didn't really like it that much. We were all learning. We were all like brand new to their program, but I had been there. That was my fourth year, of college. So I'm a different mentality than you are. But we're all learning the same thing at the same time. I just had an idea how to learn it faster than a high school freshman, I should say, not a high school senior.
Well, a high school senior coming into the game.
Yeah, we can come in, right? Coming in not knowing, and he was quite the individual, we'll say. And kind of, I always said this before, it kind of banded us together.
Yeah.
As a group.
Yeah.
Because I think he kind of sort of wanted that to happen in some twisted way, and he kind of just picked apart every individual.
Yeah.
Whenever he felt like it, most times.
Yeah.
And I found myself gravitating towards the young guys because it wasn't many. It wasn't in between. It was 5 freshmen. I was the only senior.
Ryan Jr.
I think Ryan was a junior. And that was it.
Yep.
Yeah, it was 8 of us in there, I believe. And who else was there?
Kevin.
Oh, that's right, Frat. Frat was a sophomore.
Frat was a
sophomore. Right. So it was. That's right. Frat was a sophomore. So sorry, Frat. Yeah. I'm apologizing. It's been a long time. How can I forget Kevin Fertora?
Right.
So so all of us were a good group. That was my favorite group.
Yeah.
Of all of the 4 seasons I played, out of the 5 total, that group, which I never played with, ironically enough, I played with you guys. But that group as a whole, that was my favorite group through those 2 weeks of camp, because it was a cohesive group, positive. There was no negative, there was no animosity about playing time. At least I didn't feel that way. And, kind of just bands together. And I was like, look, man, just hang in there, get your holiday pins, learn the offense as fast as you can, so then you get along.
Yeah.
And that's
I don't know if you knew this. I don't think you knew this, and I don't know if you know this. This might be the first time you're hearing it, but I wasn't really that big of a football guy. Really? I loved basketball, and if I could have played basketball, I would have went to school to play basketball. But not too many people are recruiting a 5'5", 135 pound point guard. Right. And my guidance counselor told me, this is not the time to skimp on the education. You need to go to the best school you can. So I'm glad I listened to her, and my high school coach really helped me out. But coming into that camp, I was a recruited walk-on, so I was able to come on and get into the camp with the rest of the guys as a walk-on. Right. But I did not really want to be there as a football player. I was there to play football for my family. It wasn't for me. It was for my family, just so they would be proud. So
I did not know. Now, the basketball part, what you said, once I saw you play, I understand how you feel.
Gotcha.
Like basketball was your thing. I mean, so was football.
Yeah.
But you could tell like it was a different pace. You could tell you could still play. Like you were really good. So it's like, hey, he was really good at basketball. Real good. And but for you to hang in there for 4 years and basketball was not like your love. That's you have one. Iverson. Yeah. Ironically, it was the exact opposite.
Yeah.
He loved football. Yeah. And now he's in the NBA Hall of Fame. And so this is my other choice in life was to be an NBA player. Yeah. So. Well, I did not know that. Well, football was not like that. I call it an acquired taste. Like I say to anybody who's like, my son is going to play flag football for this year. It's his first year. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So I kind of wanted him to wait until his motor skills were a little more, together. Yeah. For me, in my opinion.
Right.
So I said 6 years old was my goal, which was last summer, and wasn't nothing went down there. Yeah. So this fall. It's his first year, so I always said I was talking to two or three parents who were like, well, this is going to be like a 2-year thing. We're going to put helmet and shoulder pads on them. I said, hold on. Now, you may not know what I'm about to tell you. Yeah. I said, there's no rush to get them into their uniform because tackle football is an acquired taste. You got to, in most cases, you got to love it, or you're going to hate it because the contact will separate you. Ask LeBron James about that. He took one hit, and that was it. He was done. That was it. It wasn't worth it for him anymore. I said, you know what? You may not know this. I didn't play my first football game until 8th grade.
Gotcha. Ooh.
8th grade was my first year of tackle football. Wow. And I never stopped until 1995 life
Yep.
in November.
Yep.
You know, and at Lafayette. So that was my arc.
Yeah.
So I said, you don't have to rush into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I mean, a lot of these NFL players now who are a little more informed about the health part of it keep their kids away from football as far as the tackle part of it until high school now. Ninth graders. But they play flag football up until then, or the rough touch stuff, or whatever else they do nowadays to fill the time.
Yeah.
And then once they get to high school, they put their helmet shoulder pads on them when their body's a little more, you know, stout. You know, these NFL guys will have trainers for them. Well, these are the rich people, I'm saying, but you know, anybody can do it, in my opinion.
Yeah. Wow.
So I was like, how do we wait until like 6th grade, 7th grade?
Yeah.
What? I was like, let's just try. Let's try it my way. Just try it. It's no rush. So people are surprised when I said, I didn't play football until I got, no tackle football. All my friends played pound football. I was a bigger kid. When I was their age, I was going to be like the younger, heavier.
Gotcha.
My mom wasn't having it. She wasn't having it. My mom was like, no, you're not playing tackle football. You can play in the streets, but you got to come home at night, you know.
I did not know you started that late.
I started late. And that was very late for someone that back then.
Yeah.
Like the path was pound football until you couldn't play anymore. Yeah. Which would be like 7th grade for most people, and you keep going.
Right. And
so I missed that whole
And we weren't even taking all of the health stuff into consideration back then. So for to hold you back until
it was just what you did. It's just what you did.
You know, that says a lot about your parents and, you know, their foresight on a lot of things. So that's cool. Because I started when I was in the 5th grade, right? I moved from Jamaica, Queens, New York. I moved from there to Eastern Long Island. And that was the first time I was exposed to contact football. And I was a 4'1" little kid, barely weighed 60 pounds, and they were worried that I was going to get broken in half. But, you know, fortunately, it was a little bit more advanced in skills and speed and stuff like that. So you had to catch me before you can break me. So that helped me. But I started in the 5th grade and, you know, played 11 years, finished, you know, a senior in college. But you brought it up about Cal the Third, and I was going to bring this up. I'm glad you brought it up sooner than later. But I saw the picture of him with his buddy. I believe at his first practice or tryout.
Yeah, that was the tryout. That was the tryout. Yeah, last Wednesday. Yeah.
And tryouts. It's probably just to see what your skills are, so we can put you here. I can't. Try
pretty much. That's pretty much what they did. They actually did a 40 time, and they threw 2 passes.
Gotcha.
If you caught them, you dropped them, then to make a difference.
Gotcha. So they
called a tryout.
I saw you, you know, just in the background, and you were looking like to the sky. You wasn't even looking at your kid, and he's just smiling and grinning, and I'm like, Calvin's probably going to want to come on here talking about some Cowboys, and I'm going to go back to little Cal and him starting. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot to that, right? It's your boy, right? And he's going to start.
Yes. Yes.
I don't. The first thing I thought about was like, you passed on the number 5 to me when you left.
I did.
And now I see that number, you know, going down to another generation because I got 2 girls.
Yes.
And they ain't getting out there to play no football. So there was a sense of joy and pride to see that tradition, you know, be able to be carried forward.
Yeah.
But, you know, how do you feel? Because you said a lot about, you know, what we know now about the physicality of sports. And, man, I look at the game today, and I do not know how I was able to play for as long as I played.
I just said those same thoughts.
Yeah.
And it was a more physical game that we played than they do in NFL now. It's been NFL guys that we grew up watching were we consider savages now.
Yeah.
Like the Ryan Lotz's world, Brian Dawkins, Lawrence Taylor, they couldn't play now because it just
too physical.
It's not physical enough. Those guys were heat-seeking missiles, like by design.
Yeah.
So, you know, and people I guess the common assumption is, oh, he's going to play football. You know, that's your son. I was like, only if he wants to. So this could be a one-and-done thing.
Right.
It's only up to him.
Right.
Like, for me, there was no one forced me to do anything.
Yeah.
My mom and dad did not force me to do anything. It was just, you know, as long as your grades are okay, well, or no, as long as your grades are where they're supposed to be, in my mom's opinion, she was the czar of education in this house, then you can do what you want to do, in regards to extracurricular activities. So I want to take the same approach. If my son can play the piano, by all means, I'll be in the auditorium clapping like he just scored a touchdown, you know. So for me, it's all about what makes you happy.
Exactly.
People don't believe that, but I'm saying, I swear to God, this is my approach to this. Whatever he wants to gravitate towards, that's going to keep him busy and he's going to enjoy it. I'm all for it.
I love it. I love it. I'm
all for it. You know, I don't believe in that. You're going to do this, you're going to do that because I did it.
Right.
That's not how I was raised. My dad worked 6 days a week.
Yeah.
You know, so he never came to any of my games. He came to 2 Fordham games, 1 high school game, which because he worked on Saturdays and, you know, he can't make it. So, no big deal. You know, he got to do what he got to do. And I wasn't playing for him. I was playing for my teammates and me. So
gotcha.
That other stuff never mattered to me, like who came, who's at the games. Never mattered. Like my son will never know I'm there.
Gotcha.
He'll never hear me say his name. He'll never hear, I'll cheer for the team, but he'll never hear my voice directed at him.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's a distraction. It's a safety blanket for them. And they'll lean on that support from the stands versus the coaching staff and the teammates who are at practice every day.
Exactly.
Who are doing a job as a teammate and as a coach that I can't do because I'm over here. You know, think about what I got to do tomorrow, and coaches coach and players play. You know, and parents should be quiet.
And they should parents.
Everybody, parents, be quiet. Don't coach your kids from the sidelines. Let the coaches do their job. Okay. Please.
Whew.
So
you said a lot, and I love the exposure, and he makes the decision whether or not he wants to continue or not, or if he wants to play the piano, or if he wants to play basketball, or whatever it may be, right?
Whatever he wants.
And I feel the same way with my 2 girls. Hey, I want to give you an opportunity. I want to expose you to some different things. And I'm going to require you to pay attention, be a good teammate, listen to your coach, and give your 100%. And after that's done, you know, we can determine if you can determine if that's what you want to continue to do after the season's over, you know, and if it's not what you want to do after the season's over, we'll find something different. So I love that. And you talked about your dad working and not being at your games. And I can relate. May not have been because of working, but I remember my last game at Fordham, right? And we're talking about fatherhood and how those things just connect, right? And my dad had never been to one of my games at Fordham
ever.
4 years.
Oh, Fordham, okay, Fordham, okay.
When I was younger, but you know, you're a little kid, you don't remember all of that type of stuff. No high school games, I know that. But my last Fordham game, we played Townsend State at home, and it was a downpour. I don't know if the rain scared you away or if you were there, but I remember getting tackled in a puddle, and if a defender wanted to put my head in the water, I would have drowned because it was that much. Thank you, Jack Coffeyfield, for the poor drainage. But
the old Jack Coffeyfield. You see the new one?
Oh, my goodness.
Let's let him go there.
So I go out for, you know, the senior appreciation and all of that. And I'm not expecting much of anything. But to my pleasant surprise, I see both my mom and dad in trench coats, soaking wet, walking towards me. And I'm like, that was my last game. And that meant the world to me. That he was there.
He was there.
You know what I mean? So that was cool. That was cool. Definitely a great experience.
That's big. That's big.
Yeah. Huge.
That's big.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's all about the memories, you know. I mean, we could talk forever about your 4 years and my 4 years. 2 totally different experiences, by the way.
Definitely.
You know, just you had one head coach all 4 years?
I had one head coach all 4 years, but 2 position coaches. But I mean that's just 2? Just 2.
I had 3 in 5 years.
My goodness.
I had 3.
It's hard to get into a rhythm, you know, any continuity and consistency.
Not 4. Wow. I had 4 position coaches.
Wow.
The one, Coach Kruk, who recruited me.
Yeah.
He was there my freshman and sophomore year. And then Coach, probably my favorite one was my junior year. Was Coach Ulrich.
Okay.
He wore shorts every day of the season. every day, and no matter how cold it got, he coached Moorhead.
Yeah.
He coached Moorhead.
Yeah.
Moorhead sophomore year.
Yeah.
That was his first year starting. Joe Moorhead, who's now the offensive coordinator at Oregon.
Yes, sir.
The former Mississippi State head coach.
Yep.
Joe was a sophomore. It was his first year starting.
Mm-hmm.
He coached receivers and quarterbacks at the same time.
Wow.
That year.
Yeah.
And the one thing I remember about him, I'm getting off the topic for a second.
That's all good.
He said, I learned this from him, Rick Ulrich. He said, if you call me coach, I'm going to call you player. So we called him Rick. It was very unusual because I'm from a high school program that Coach Johns was Coach Johns. His name was not Hank ever. That was the first thing. We ever called him Hank.
Hey, forget about where you came from coaching. What about mom and dad, Mr. and Mrs. everything? You know what I mean?
Exactly. So that's how we were raised.
Yeah.
So Rick was like, you call me coach, like even by accident, I'm going to call you player.
Yeah.
So we called him Rick all year. It was very strange. We were the only one doing that whole team. He coached the quarterbacks and receivers at the same time. So we were always together.
Yeah.
We was always together. We moved around drill work. We moved together all the time. And he would drop back left-handed to emulate Moorhead. Because Moorhead ball comes out the opposite way. Well, you know.
Yep.
And he would do that. He would show Joe's steps. Left-handed. It was amazing. This guy's amazing. He was an amazing coach.
Yeah.
He was only there for 1 year, and he went off and went to another school to get a head coaching job somewhere, maybe Division III or something like that.
Gotcha.
Or maybe, he came from Division III to Fordham. He was only there for 1 year and then left. And then we got Trick right after that. And they were friends.
Yeah.
Rick and Trick were friends. So we got nice Rick, and we got the tyrant, Joe Chicario. So good tyrant. I mean, I love Trick, and I love him. I mean, the guy. It's a long story about that. People might not know, but it's a special relationship I have with Trick. You know.
But let's go back to that, to the relationship with Trick, because the man really almost ran me out. And he called my cards the first 2 weeks I was there. He said, you need to do X, Y, and Z, or else this, that, and this is going to suffer. And my freshman year, you knew it, and we're going to talk about camp and what happened there, but I was in the football office every day doing homework just so I could stay eligible. And that was all Trick making me do my homework. So I learned a lot from the man, but it was hard. And again, I think it was hard because my mentality was I need to do well in school. Football was always secondary. Right. And then once I got into a little bit of a rhythm, and I owe a lot to you, that helped me be able to embrace football, challenge, to learn, and then, to be able to produce and participate on a level that I did for those years. But I remember we were up in the football office off around the corner looking over the gym or whatever, and I was sharing with you my struggles, and I'm not doing it, man. I'm done. And I don't know if you remember what you told me, but whatever you told me, it made me go to the football office, ask for a scholarship, which I got, and I wanted to finish out the rest of my years. So do you remember that conversation we had?
I don't remember that specific one because I remember, was this after my injury or was this all before my injury?
So this was after the injury.
So was this your sophomore year?
So no, this was still my freshman year. And just a little context for the folks is, we had training camps for 2 weeks. Unfortunately, you had an injury. You broke your ankle on like the last day or something like that.
It was the last day of camp, James.
Day of camp before we was coming back.
I can laugh about it now. It was the last day of football camp.
And you
of my life. That was it for me.
Yeah. You broke your ankle on a non-contact drill. We was doing some crazy nonsense that Trick had us doing.
Yes.
On the last day of camp, let me repeat that. And you went down, you broke your ankle. And, I don't wish injury on anybody, but I've always tried to look at the positive and said, I got him for another year because I would have lost so much my freshman year, right? Because I'm struggling to try to play. I'm struggling to just adjust, to this new life.
Right.
And I had you for another year after I was able to learn the playbook and get a rhythm in school. And it was a blessing in disguise for me. And I'm sorry to say it, but I took advantage of that fifth year you had. Because we roomed on every away trip.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
That's right. And you know what? And here's my thing. Go back to your question. I don't know what I said to you, but I'm sure it was something along the lines of, I'm assuming this is how I thought at 22 years old, watching what you went through. I mean, every day it was brutal. I mean, it was brutal. Like your class, you guys were battle tested for life after that, because I never seen anything like that before. I mean, I seen some coaches get after people, but Trick was relentless every single day of your freshman year. He never let up. He never let up. It was never a point where he was like, okay, I'm satisfied. These guys got it. He never got to that point. I mean, to his credit, I'm not sure if that was his design, but he was just hammering y'all. I mean, the film sessions, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be a rough one. And I'm sitting in there like, ankle throbbing. I can really walk around campus. I'm sitting like, man, this is, I mean, I felt bad for y'all because I could see things. I could see y'all figuring it out. But it's a different warp speed compared to high school. It's warp speed. So you got things going on like this. And it's all mental. College football is all mental. You know, that playbook was that thick, man. It was that thick.
And you told me that. You was the first person to ever tell me that you need to be a student of the game.
Yes.
You can't get by off of the talent you had coming out of high school. And I don't care what level you at, whether it's Division I AA, if it's the big boys, it don't matter. That speed is just a lot different. The things you're learning is a lot different. I didn't have film sessions like we had freshman year. That was new to me. We would watch a game and just
I had them a little bit, but nothing every day. Not every day where it was like, you kind of dread, like, oh, here comes the play that I messed up. And you know what's coming. And he know what's coming. You're like, all right, Simmons, what are we supposed to do here? What are we supposed to do here? I'm like, oh, man. Oh, no. This is a practice film. This is not in the game film. This is the practice film from yesterday, you know, so.
The only thing I
watched that, I was like, man, this dude is, this is, you can see it coming, and he just did not blink, and y'all, nobody quit. Nobody in that room quit. And I respect your entire group for the rest of my life. I respect you because you did not quit when you easily could have. And went somewhere else with your talent. And like, the heck with this. This is not what I thought it was going to be.
Well, I wasn't going nowhere else.
Because of this guy, you know.
I wasn't going nowhere else. I was just going to do the homework and get the grades done and just be done with it. That was what I was thinking. But you told me to put that effort in. You ain't got to be Einstein out there. Just get what you got to get done. Do better, and it'll come to you. And that was it. It was patience. And I appreciate that because it could have been a lot different, you know, for me. This conversation probably wouldn't be.
I want you to remember what I told you now. I should put it on a plaque or something, right?
Well, listen.
Like the speech like Tim Tebow has. The speech on the plaque, I need that one.
Let's put it this way. You spoke to me at the level that I was at. And it was something along the line, you know what, James? C's get degrees, all right? You got to put that effort in, stay eligible, because you knew how I was struggling.
That's true.
And, I wound up doing a little bit better once I got into a rhythm. But you had that ability to give me what I needed, and a lot of us, what we needed at that time to get through. Because like you said, it was really, really tough. But as you said it, and I'll say it too, didn't realize how much I would come to appreciate what Coach Trick did for us at that age.
Yes.
Because like you said, he added another layer of skin to us.
Yes.
He made us a lot tougher. And, when I get to talk to him and follow him, I definitely do that. And I've told him, I was like, man, you was right. And I'm glad you saw that because 4 years later, I was able to get my degree, which is what it was all about.
Yes.
So appreciate that. Definitely do.
Let me share one quick story with you about Joe Tricarico. So the year before he came to Fordham, he was at University of Pennsylvania. He was a receiver coach there. And when the new coach that came in, he came in with them. And I kind of, you of course, read up on where guys were at. Well, we played them last year.
Right.
So he saw us. He saw me and the other two receivers who both graduated, Sean Harris and Raymond McKee graduated, but I was the only one returning. So we used to do 55s after practice at camp, and I'm like fuming. Like I'm like, man, it's a tired story. But if we do this again, we'll go over the camp stories in a little more detail. But this one, it's a drill called a 55, where it was like almost like a punishment for if we had any drops as a group for practice. So it got to a point where everybody else on the team would sit there and watch us run. They were just entertainment for them. So I it's like after the first week, I had enough. People look at me like, you gonna say something? I'm going to say something. So we walking into the locker room. He's looking at me like I know you want to say something to me. So go ahead and say it, and I let him have it. I mean, I was respectful, but I was very clear in my thoughts about what was going on after practice week day. And he said to me, and he won me over right then and there. Who was in right in the showers, right? No one's in there, just me and him. He said, you know what? Remember last year at UPenn when it was up 30-14, and we came back and beat y'all, and on the last drive of the game, you had no energy left to get downfield?
Yeah.
Do you remember that? You remember that play? I watched all the games last year.
Yeah.
I watched them again when I got here. You had no stamina left in that fourth quarter for that last drive to get in the field goal range.
Yeah.
And I looked at him and was like, he's right. I do remember that. I do remember how I felt after that game. I was just tired, just had no legs left.
Yeah.
That's why I run you guys the way I do. That's why. Because so you don't have to be tired in the fourth quarter. And I had no response to that. And at that point, I'm not sure if you noticed it, I stopped complaining about the 55s. Because I knew he explained to me why he was doing it. Hey, we weren't doing it. He was going to find a reason to do it. He was going to find a reason on practice to have us at least do one or maybe two. Or he'll find one while you're running. If somebody don't make it, you got to do three this time. But I stopped complaining after we had that little conversation. I mean, man to man, eye to eye. It was no BS. He wasn't disrespectful to me, but he gave me a reason that I could not deny. And I moved on. I was like, you know what? He's
right.
He did his research, and he's correct. I didn't have anything left in that fourth quarter.
So I have you to thank.
Yes.
Dead leg.
Before you got there.
What I went through my freshman year.
Yes.
Because I was always bringing up the rear. And I'm like, yo, Trick, this ain't fair. My legs are shorter than everybody else. I'm trying to help my boys. Just make me run,
That's right.
But it was definitely one for all and all for one.
35. You do that watch today.
Yep.
Oh, he got that watch.
My goodness.
Wide out. Oh man, I'm like, oh my God. Not another one.
Trauma.
My roommate was Leo's. They started hanging around. Like, wait a minute, they doing this again? Let's still want to watch this. And the whole team is sitting there looking at it, watching us run these 55s and watching me cursing the whole time I was on run. Around the sideline. So, but that's the explanation he gave me. It wasn't anything personal.
Yeah.
And my only regret is not playing that year because I felt like that would have been my best season because I was in my best shape of my life. I was strong as an ox, and I was mentally prepared for that season. And that was my senior year. I wanted to play with the guys I came in with.
Right.
And I never got a chance to do that.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest regret athletically is never playing. We didn't win a game that year.
Yeah.
But I wanted to play with the guys I came in with. It was 32 of us. As freshmen, it was 12 left as seniors.
Wow.
So I wanted to be with those 12 guys who stuck it out through all the nonsense and all the losing and character building that losing will do to you.
Yeah.
And, all the smart comments on campus, whatever, it's what it is.
Yeah.
But I never played a game. I sat there to watch them suffer through that season without me. And I felt like responsible to a certain degree, but kind of just remorseful that I never got a chance to do that with them. I was in street clothes the whole year, so.
Remember.
So.
Well.
But that's a trick. That's another trick story. I never shared it with anybody. I don't think.
I didn't know that, and my response to you may have been different had I did know it. But that was my fault. The past is the past, and it's all good. And just great memories, man. And we talk about how the game of football has shaped us from young men to men, and to now fatherhood. again, I've never studied a game the way I learned to study football. So much so, when I went home playing video games with my brother, they didn't want to play with me no more. Shut up, play the game. I don't need to know what cover 2 man is, because this is, Techno Bowl or whatever it is. Madden 99. Just stop it. You know what I mean? So,
Yes, you know it all, man. You watch it differently.
Yeah, watch it differently, and still to
You
this
watch
day,
differently.
watch it differently. People might get excited by 50-yard line right up on the players. I need that bird's eye view, because I need to see how it develops.
What happened? Yes.
How it develops.
What happened? Yeah.
So
how did that play work?
Yeah.
Or what did the defense do wrong?
Right.
On that play? Yes.
So what is,
absolutely. You never lose that. You never lose that mentality. You watch some of film.
Yeah. What are some of those things that you learned during your days, from the various coaches that you had, that you carry today, and are handing down to your son?
The first and foremost, the one thing I did learn, because I did a lot of winning in my career. My high school, 1 or 2 wins in high school, college, kind of, I think we had 4 or 5 wins our senior year, my senior year, my 5th year.
Yep, 5, yep.
Character is something you develop over time, and discipline and a no-quit attitude.
Yeah.
You get that through sports. And I say everything in life, you can relate it to a sporting event. Everything you deal with, adversity, teamwork, selfishness, it's all relates to everyday life. So for me, football taught me discipline first and foremost, attention to detail, Lord have mercy, attention to detail, and just being organized in general, and being prepared for adversity.
Right.
Like, I like watching individuals in many different sports. It could be tennis, could be baseball, could be basketball. I like to see the teams that deal with a letdown during the game, like a bad play, or a turnover.
Yeah.
Like the game last night, the Raiders and the Baltimore game.
Yep.
Like, you see the game kind of just
shift,
leveled off, and then it just went this way on Baltimore. The Raiders dealt with adversity early, and they hung in there, and they won the game. And football is the ultimate team sport. You got to have everybody on the same page. So it's a teamwork thing that you realize. We've been on all bad teams, we've been on good teams, and it's a stark difference in the two.
Yeah.
The cohesiveness is there, the unselfishness is there on good teams. Except the Bulls, for some reason, when Michael, Scotty, and Dennis, they seem to pull it off, even though they didn't like each other. Apparently, doing the last dance thing. That's the anomaly of it. But in most cases, 99% of the time, the good teams have those elements, the bad teams don't.
Gotcha.
And you feel like, and that's one thing I did learn. You learn those elements of it, like for me, like, I respect you guys a great deal, that your group for what you dealt with. You dealt with a lot as a high school or a high school student coming to college and dealing with that grown man every day for the first 4 months of your college life, and to come from that, like, y'all survived a thunderstorm. Every day. And to his credit, he stayed in there. He was consistent, but he put y'all through the grinder. So the next coach, like
Coach Patno,
easy pickings for him to do nothing with y'all. Seriously, you knew it all.
Yeah.
You guys knew it all. He was just repeating himself.
Yeah.
He was just fine-tuning that Corvette.
Yeah.
Because you guys knew the entire offense after those first 11 games.
Yeah.
Without question, you knew it. You knew what was expected of you.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, it was a fine-tuned machine coming into year 2 for you guys as a group.
Yeah.
It was just who was going to get the playing time. You all knew what was going on.
And you saw how the production went. You know what I mean? You talk about
Yes.
Larry and myself platooning, at that inside receiver, both having almost 40 catches, 600-700 yards. We came together,
That's it.
and it was light years of difference that second year. Not that it was easy, like, it still was like, I know I need to go there. I need to do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it just came a little bit more easier. And, Coach
The
Pat
game slowed down for you.
It slowed down.
You saw what you're looking for. You could read defense like that. You knew where the ball was going. You knew where the ball was going based on what you're looking at here. You knew who's going to get it. You knew where the quarterback should go here with the ball.
Yeah.
Or this ball's coming to me.
Yeah.
Or it could be me or him.
Yeah.
All depends on who gets open first. So, and that's what that 1 year gave you you got baptized. I mean, there was no, like, I sat and waited for 2 years. The two guys in front of me at Fordham, Tom Garlick and John Potter Moose's, they waited their turn, I believe.
Right.
They were juniors and I was a freshman, so I'm like, oh, well, I think I knew this beforehand. I met them on my recruiting trip, and it was like, these guys are established starters.
Yeah.
So if I can wiggle in there, no, they don't come off the field. They don't come off. They play all 3 downs. You got to wait your turn. You got to wait your turn. So when I got my turn, I took advantage of it. But
wow.
but you guys have to wait.
Yeah.
You got in the game as freshmen, which is. That was not my path. Like I said, I'd wait 2 years of sitting there watching and learning.
Yeah, and I think that was one of the things, as we know, when a coach comes in and he has his recruiting class, he wants to see what those kids can do right away.
Yes,
I'm not sitting on this. You know what I mean? So
right. You were a Coach Q guy.
I definitely benefit from that. And Coach Q, great guy. Really helped me grow into a young man with just the simple things. As football players, you guys are always going to stand out, the biggest group on campus. But you're going to be different and stand out for a different reason. Bust your tray, right? And I remember when we went to Bermuda, which you benefited from a second fifth year, a fourth year. That 5th year you went to Bermuda, and he said, "Listen, we gonna wear some sports coats and some slacks, and this is a business trip." And when Holy Cross came on and flip flops and all of this, we had already known that game was ours. And it was just a matter of going out and executing. And that's what we did. We got that W and had a little bit of fun.
Till midnight.
Yeah.
Till midnight. We had fun till most of us.
Most of us. We had to run. Some had to run when they came back, but we watched.
I was told that running was worth it. I was like, there's no way. Yeah. There's no way running was worth it. It was worth it. I was like, there's no way.
Yeah.
You can go back to Bermuda anytime you want. You can go back right now. That running was not worth it. There's no else. There's no running. There was nothing. I'll be back at 12. I don't know about the rest of you. We ain't got to go to bed.
Yep.
We got to be back at 12.
Yep.
We were. What are you going to do?
We were.
We got that.
But no.
I was like, okay, everybody. Did everybody make it back from our group?
No. We had a couple guys who came in a little late and had to do some extra running when we got back to the Bronx. So if I'm not mistaken, it might have been just you and I who got back on time.
That was it.
But we could check. I'll hopefully have some of these guys on the show. But my memory serves me that it was you and I, because we stood right next to watching guys come in.
11:30, James. 11:30. We gotta start rolling. Definitely. Let's go. Who's back and standing around like see who they make it.
Yeah.
Pat was hot. He was hot.
Yeah.
That he couldn't leave because all our guys were not there. He was mad. I was like, yo, you can see in his eyes. He was hot about that.
He was hot. I'm gonna give you a minute. Okay. I appreciate going down memory lane and some of the new stuff. Definitely happy for Cal the third. I'm looking forward to seeing how that develops.
Yeah.
What's your take on this upcoming season? Your boys, what's going on? How you feeling about it?
I'm encouraged.
Okay.
Now, I don't believe in moral victories, but I was encouraged by what I saw on Thursday. Now, football is a very simple sport if you keep it simple. You run the ball, you stop the run, you kick well. You'll win a lot of games. That is football where you can do everything anywhere between that with the trick plays and the exotic formations and the zone blitzes. But if you run the ball, you you stop the run, which is what Tampa Bay did. You can't run the ball on them, and they ran the ball on us.
Yeah.
And it just enough plays to win the game.
Yeah.
Dallas learns how to run the ball a little better. Dak don't have to throw the ball 58 times in one game, which is outrageous.
Crazy.
We'll be a good team because we have all the tools on offense to score.
Yeah.
The defense is just, I'm not sure when we're going to address this. It's been 4 years now of, a top 5 worst defense in the league.
Yeah.
With playmakers here and there. Linebackers are good, but we can't stop the run. So we'll see. Our quarterback may have to carry us.
Gotcha.
To 9 wins, hopefully 10.
Throwing it 50 times a game.
I'm being very optimistic, but the running game the running back is making $15 million a year. I mean, you got to get him involved.
Got to let him eat.
He's player number 21. I don't call him by name anymore. He's player number 21. If he gets 100 yards in one game, I'll address him as such, player number 21.
Yeah.
And that's all he'll ever be until he produces on the field. He won his money. He got to earn it now. Justin Dragon said, I don't care who ain't blocking. You get me 100 yards or else.
Yeah.
Doing your own, so.
Got it.
So we'll see. It's a long year, though. I mean, I'm happy just to watch a game.
It's a
with
different
fans in the stands.
It's
amazing.
It's a different feel,
it really is. And you don't realize what you're missing until it's gone.
Yeah. I'm excited too. And, football is important to you. And, I love the game myself. I don't have to be watching games every day, every Thursday, Friday. So, it's not like that, but I enjoy because I understand the process. It's not many sports that you have one game a week and you put so much energy, preparation for that one game. And it's something about that, and I carry that over, with my kids. You know what I mean? Every single day I'm putting into them for that next whatever it is for them in their lives. You know what I mean? So one of the things I've learned about football is you got to put in the work. It's not just about the talent. You know what I mean? You got to put the work in. So love the game. I want to end on this. You're the most knowledgeable sports person I know.
Really?
You are. I take that back. My grandfather, who was a Boston Celtic fan, how is that in New York? He knew a lot about sports. But I didn't have conversations with him like I'm able to have with you. When did you, and it could be just a sports thing or it could be a moment you identify when you knew football was that thing for you. When did you realize that?
When football was football's always my favorite sport. Yeah. Ever since, when I started liking the Cowboys, that's when I started liking football. Yeah. I would just learn the players' names. I would go buy the little magazines and have. I still got these magazines like the NFL Stars with Walter Payton's in there and Lawrence Taylor's in there. So I would just read. I was not a person who liked to read books. I would read magazines because I had an allergy. So every Monday I would go to the allergy doctor.
Gotcha.
And I would read Sports Illustrated every Monday. Gotcha. As much as I could while I'm sitting there waiting.
Yeah.
I would just learn where all the players are from and what team they play on and what school they went to. And, I would absorb that information. I just kept doing it. And I would watch things and listen to these experts, so-called experts, talk about football. And then once you learn how to study it, like the way we did in college, it became even more easy to understand why certain coaches do certain things the way they do it and why they don't do this because they don't have the personnel for it. So I can understand that football is a thing where you can always learn something new. Even though it's a different version of something you already know. The West Coast offense is 19 different versions of the West Coast offense now. There's the original version, and there's Andy Reid's version, and there's John Gruden's version, and there's Bill Walsh's version, and and everybody has a version of it. So, and you try to figure out what's the difference. There's no difference, and they want to make it sound like it's different. It's not.
Right.
So I always like to be around like a sport like that where you learn things, even though you think you know everything. It's always something else you can add to it. And, and I listen to sports talk radio a lot. Here, certain guys, certain athletes. Will tell you what's going on. Like more now than ever, these former players are now analysts now, and they give you what's really going on, in the locker room, or in the field during the game, in the huddle.
Yeah.
which is always an interesting perspective for me that we never had a chance to hear that before.
Right.
It was like the unwritten rule, but now they're like, we don't care. We're going to tell you what's going on in the huddle. Like T.O. was on the news the other day talking about what happened in the huddle with him and McNabb.
Wow.
You know, when they got to the argument about something.
Yep.
You know, so it was just, you know, but these guys are they're geniuses. Like, they're athletic geniuses, and they share their knowledge. Like, this is what Deion's doing down there.
That's what you're doing.
Yeah, he's a genius. He got it all. Deion's a machine.
Yeah.
Like, he knows how to motivate. You know, so you learn about these things, and he's talking, but he's giving you little nuggets here and there about how he's doing this and that.
Yeah.
You know, and getting this player to work and getting this. I mean, Deion said the other day, if you don't do this, y'all going home. And I don't mean home to your dorm room. I mean home. Like, that's what he said to player practice.
I saw
you know, and this is Deion talking, you know, so he's a Hall of Fame player who knows how to play football. And not just defensive back. He's an offensive coordinator now. He calls plays.
And he knows how to communicate to the kids. He knows how to communicate to the kids. Everybody can't do that, right? Everybody wants you to fit into what they're doing. But sometimes to get the most out of it, it's got to be the opposite. You got to just speak a little differently to get the kids to do the same thing. And it's obvious, you know, and I'm following him. We follow him together, that he's speaking the language of the kids and the community. And it's refreshing to see what's going on.
The community, more importantly, the community. And he's talking to the whole conference when he talks. He's talking to other coaches on his campus. He said, I want to challenge everybody here. Like, he wants everybody to raise their level of play. He's bringing money into that school.
Yeah.
And he's dishing it. He's not keeping.
Listen,
he's giving away. Here.
I just saw something that they only have $2.4 million football budget, but they're ahead of some other schools that spend $20 million, $22 million with the recruiting class that he had. That's the power of prime time, right?
Yes.
That's the power of prime time.
Yes.
So he's doing some stuff. I'm excited to see what he continues to do. It's exciting down there. Definitely exciting. So. And
they're only talking about Power 5 schools that want him. He ain't going. He ain't going.
Please stay.
He ain't going nowhere. Deion's gonna make that. Deion's gonna make a difference down there. Yeah. And Georgia's down there now. Yeah. Same thing.
Yeah. Yep.
They're building.
Tennessee State, I think.
These kids are gonna come.
Yeah.
The one safety that he had, or cornerback, was the top junior college defensive back.
Yes.
And he plays he was at Georgia.
Yep.
He left Georgia and came to Jackson State.
Yep.
I was like, whew.
Yep.
And he said, if I could play on Sundays, what better teacher than him?
Yep.
I was like, whoa. So
it's fun. It's
really great to watch. It's not about wins and losses.
Yeah.
And he's building a brand down there that's going to last, 20 years once he's done.
Yep.
Because he may leave when the sun get out of there. Who knows? Could be a 4-year plan for him.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like that would be the keeping thing for him. He's going to stay with his son and ride that out. So he's
He's still the quarterback.
A little bit longer, and it's going to be interesting to see what his son does. But it's good stuff. It's good stuff. But man, I appreciate you. I thank you.
Anytime you need me, James. Anytime. I enjoyed this. This was fun. And we got so many things we didn't cover. We can do this a million times more, man.
We got so much to do.
A million times.
Listen, everybody, that's my boy Cal, my big brother. I love him. I appreciate him. Thanks for joining him on the show. Thank you for joining this episode of Fatherhood and Football, a Dad's Thing production, where finding and embracing our roles in fatherhood is a journey and one that we do not have to do alone. Please join us next Thursday for our next episode and follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook at A Dad's Thing for all your fatherhood-related content. You can also find our podcast on Anchor, Spotify, Breaker, and Radio Public.